Hi, I'm Miss Haley with the Huntsville-Madison County Public Library. And for today's activity, I'm going to show you how to make a wax paper melted crayon butterfly. For this activity, you are going to need an iron set to about medium heat. You will also need an adult. If you are not an adult, please do not use your iron. Get some help with that. You are going to need some wax paper, a grater. You could also use a knife if you don't have a grater handy, or if your parents don't want you using it, you can use a knife to cut up your crayons, but in that case, you will again need your adult. You'll need some crayons. I've picked some older ones that we had here at the library, and a surface to grate on. So I'm going to be grating onto this, and then I'm going to pour each color onto this paper towel so that I can keep my colors separate. Set that up there. And then lastly, you will need a pencil and a surface to iron on. So I've already set up on my surface that I will be ironing on. I recommend you just go ahead and do this on your ironing board, because that will help you so you don't have to move the art. When you first put it together, it's going to be quite loose, and if you have to pick it up and move it, chances are you're going to mess it up. So you want to go ahead and just be working on the surface that you're planning to use to iron. So I'm going to start by grating. Not sure which surface I want to use for this. I guess I'm just going to use this. I'm going to start by grating some crayons. So I have just picked a couple different crayons that I think will look nice in a butterfly from my collection of really old crayons, and I'm just going to start grating. Let me see which one is best for that. That's not really very good. Will this be better? Let's try the slicer. There we go. Good. You want kind of big curls. Really, a knife might even work better for this. Just be careful as you're doing it. And again, it might help to have an adult for this. But I am just going to grate some crayons. This is going very slow. Alright, I'm going to speed in my camera up, I think, for this. So I'm going to grate some crayons. Alright, so I am back, and I have shredded a bunch of crayon. I also took it away and started chopping with a knife, so I definitely recommend that you get some adult or maybe older teen help with this. That was not very easy to do. And we're going to try this craft two ways. You can see it kind of made a mess too. I would recommend prepping your crayons away from your ironing board, but we're going to try this two ways. So one way is to put the crayon shards on the paper in the pattern you want. And the other way to do this is to actually just draw really heavily with the crayon. So to do that, I'm going to actually lift this up for a minute so I have a hard surface to work on. So we're going to try this both ways. So I'm going to tear off, badly, a piece of the wax paper, and I am going to draw a butterfly just with the crayons themselves right here. So I'm going to start drawing that butterfly on my paper. And we're going to see which way works best. I do recommend you kind of have to hold the paper down as you're doing it. It wants to kind of move, and it's a little hard to draw on this waxy surface. So as I'm drawing though, I am making sure to get plenty of crayon on, so you can see where it's really heavy and then where it's really light. I'm going to go back over that light spot because we want that wax to melt, we need some wax to actually just be present to melt. So you want more than just a little bit of color if this is going to work. And I guess I would recommend this method if it works. We're going to find out. We're kind of doing a craft plus science project here today. But we are going, if this method works, I would recommend this for younger children just because shredding those crayons was super hard. Super hard. It was not my favorite thing to do. All right, now we're going to go in. I'm just going to put some splotches on him. I'm not filling in like a lot because I think the wax will spread. So we'll find out, I guess. So I'm kind of leaving some clear gaps, and even if it doesn't spread, those clear gaps will be kind of nice. You can hang these up in windows and let the light shine through, and it's pretty cool looking. So even if there's some clear spots, I'm not mad at that. I am a little mad at my broken crayon though. Alright, one more spot for the pink. We'll get some blue in here. This is really hard to color on. It's easier to do lines than it is to do like rounded shapes, I'm discovering. It's kind of hard to get a lot of layers on there. I'm going to do a blue center for the body. And let's see what yellow does. I'd like to see what the yellow will do. Okay, I think that's enough crayon for my butterfly on that side. So on this side, I am still going to draw out a butterfly line. I think I will just do it with a crayon. I don't think I want to do that with a pencil. So I'm going to draw a butterfly right here just to give me an outline to follow with the little shards of crayon that I'm going to fill it in with. I don't think I want to use a pencil on this after all, even though that's what my instructions say to do, because I think the wax paper would tear. It feels pretty flimsy. Okay, so I am going to go ahead, pull my little ironing surface back. I'm using doubled up towels for mine, so it's 2 towels. They're just really, really thick, so it's going to protect my surface. And that can be a good alternative if you don't have an ironing board at hand. So over here, you guys can see, let me move them up a little bit. So here we have my colored on butterfly. Here we have just the outline that I'm going to fill in with the crayon shards. I did learn the hard way that crayon shards like to cling to your skin. So we're just going to kind of just scrape them off, and then I'm going to use you guys are learning right along with me today. Then we're going to use the crayon, I think, to kind of push them into spot, because they don't want to stick to the crayon, but they really want to stick to my skin. I am not thrilled with that. So I'm just going to kind of push them around. I'm trying to get them all within the outline of my butterfly here. If they're a little outside, because it can be really hard to get these in position, that is fine. You can cut these out when you're done. And so you don't have to super worry about having stuff outside the lines here. We're going to cut them out. All right, I'm going to spread that out a little more. I've got kind of a concentration here in the center. Okay, so next step is to pull another sheet of wax paper and move everything out of the way. I don't want anything getting burned with the iron, so let's get stuff on my surface a little more clear. And we're going to layer this onto our butterflies. And this is why you want to be on the surface you're going to iron. And then we're going to iron this. Ooh, I'm kind of nervous, you guys. I don't know. So I'm just laying the iron on there. Ooh. That gets super liquidy. It's kind of turning brown though. All those colors are mixing. So I'm just very, very gently ironing my butterfly. My colors are super mixing. They're kind of turning brown in some places. I did have all of the primary colors in here, so that makes sense. Red, blue, and yellow make brown, you guys. So I'm just kind of pressing it gently. And I'm just going to have to cut a freehand butterfly out of that. I can't even see my butterfly pattern anymore. That really melted. If you guys can see that. Super melted and liquidy. Just kind of press in a couple more places. Alright, we're going to do this guy next. I don't know if the pressing method is going to work as well. It's also working. Dragging the iron across really moves it around though. Alright. We are going to, making sure there's nothing on my iron. Don't touch the surface you ironed. Hopefully that goes without saying, but if it doesn't, don't touch the surface you just ironed. We're going to let that sit and we're going to let it cool until we're ready to come back and cut out our butterflies. Okay, we are all cooled down. You can touch them now. It only took about, I don't know, 5 minutes. I've not left them here very long. And this one is super hard. You can kind of hear it. That's kind of fun. This one, not so much. It did not spread as much as I thought it would. And then this one spread way more than I thought it would. So that's what we wound up with. Both methods worked. If you choose the coloring it on method, though, I would recommend doing a little bit more coloring than what I did. And I would also recommend not moving your iron across. I would recommend just placing it and letting the crayon melt. You might even want to do that with this too, to avoid more color mixing. I don't super mind that. I'm just going to cut a butterfly out of it. But yeah, we're going to cut these guys out now. So I'm just going to follow my outline and cut Mr. Butterfly out. Super fast. And if you cut right up to that line, the paper should be pretty stuck together. So here is one butterfly, and you can hang this up in a window. It really does look neat with the sun shining through these. I would recommend, though, you hang it up in a window that does not get super direct sunlight. If your window gets really hot, I don't know, it could possibly melt the crayon again. So just keep that in mind. Alright, this guy, I cannot see my butterfly outline anymore, so we are just going to do our best to cut out a butterfly of this. Maybe I can draw one on now that it's, you know, it's more like scratching one on, but that's okay. Like I said, the pencil is super scratchy on the wax paper. Ooh. We'll do a smaller butterfly. We're going to cut it out. We're going to very loosely follow that. I will say this one is, let's cut that off. It feels kind of weird to cut through. Maybe because there's so much of a layer of wax under there. But it definitely feels different to cut through this one. And there's our second butterfly. This one I don't think you can hang in the window. I don't think any sunlight would really shine through that. So it's just art. Yeah, and he did kind of turn brown in the center. So definitely setting the iron on there rather than moving it across would probably be better. But these are our wax paper butterfly craft. I hope you have fun with it. and we'd love to hear from you. So if you want to share those photos with us, please send them to Huntsville-Madison County Public Library, and we look forward to seeing you soon.